I'll get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending. I see you are all getting in here. We have the presentation up. Awesome. Yeah, my name is Aina Rockinen. I'm the marketing coordinator at Kendis. And today we're joined by Justin Oki, who will be doing the presentation in just a minute after I'm done speaking. We're also joined by members of our Kendis support team, our awesome support team, who will be virtually answering questions on that questions panel on your screen, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Today, we're talking about our unique Scrum of Scrums feature, as well as fielding some questions from all of you. If you don't know already, this feature will change the way you prepare for and record your Scrum of Scrums, which we know directly translates to an easier workflow and just more productivity for you and your teams. So today's session is definitely worth your while. So thank you for coming. We are recording this and it will be shared on our website. On our landing page, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a section that says webinars. Click on that. All the recordings of all of our sessions, webinars, clinics are on there. And we'll also send that link in the follow-up email that you will get after this. If you want to switch that next slide, Justin, we have another upcoming clinic, our fourth one, and this will be on our new timeline view, which most of you have probably not seen, and this will be on July 27th, as you can see. And you can go ahead and scan that QR code or follow the link right now if you want to register. And then we'll also send that link in the follow-up email. Yeah, so speaking of our other clinics, at the end of today, there will be a survey after this webinar ends. And if you would just enter in any suggestions you have for topics for our clinics, that would be great. We do read those, we do take those into consideration, so we would love to see what you all want to hear from us. Yeah, so back to the questions today. So there is a questions panel on your screen. If you've been here before, works the same way. Our support team will be able to answer those questions virtually just during simultaneously with the presentation. And then also Justin is going to prompt you to use that raise hand feature on your screen. And he'll be like, is there any questions? Go ahead and raise your hand, and then we can unmute you and hear what you have to say if you want to ask anything directly. Yes, also on your screen. There's so many features on your screen today, so sorry about that. But there should be an area that says handouts, and you should be able to download a PDF from there, and it's about our features, like a rundown of the Scrum of Scrums feature, very informational and clear, and you can keep that. So we're happy to provide that for you. Let us know if you have questions downloading it in the chat, or have problems or whatever about it. Yeah, I think that's it. So many things about your screen and everything. So I am going to hand it off to Justin now to start his presentation.
Thank you, Anna. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you very much. Good morning. Good evening, I think. Some people are calling in from the eastern side of the world. As I know said, my name kind of like two features that we have in Kendis. This one is a feature we say that you didn't know that you needed. It's one functionality called the Scrum of Scrums. It's, I think, whatever agile methodology that you have in an organization, you pretty much similar to. That's where we thought we would. The very first Scrum of Scrums feature in a tool. I'm sure other tools will catch up sooner or later, of course, as they always do, but this is the very first one anyway. I think we've got a couple of questions, haven't we, in polls, just to sort of get us going on these Scrum of Scrums.
Yes, I'll launch the first one.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
We just want to know, thank you, Anna, just want to know sort of roughly how frequently you hold your Scrum of Scrums. It varies in all different organizations. I just want to have a sort of rough idea how frequently you hold them.
We have about half people have voted. Get a few more votes in there.
Can you share the results there?
Yes, now I'll share them. Close poll, share results. There we go.
Once a week. Yeah. Yeah. I think the most organizations have it once a week. Ironically, when we remember, 8% have it. Well, we remember. I love that one. Okay, so I know there's another question as well. Thank you very much. We'll come on to this later. But I believe there's another question, right, Anna?
Yes.
When we remember. So this one is, what's the typical duration of your Scrum of Scrums? Now, this one I know is open to all. It's not necessarily the most popular ceremony, but ironically, it's so important that you have it. Yeah, the typical duration of your Scrum of Scrums.
There we go.
Oh, that's good. Thank you very much. So, okay. So when we started doing Scrum of Scrums, thank you, I know.
Yes.
When we started doing Scrum of Scrums, it actually, we found that they were going for 60 minutes or longer. So that's when we started thinking, okay, we need a feature to sort of combat this. But look, this is part of the safe PI execution. They mentioned the Scrum of Scrums in the art sync. So during the execution of the PI, they sort of mentioned, okay, all of the Scrum Masters come together and have these discussions between them. It's facilitated by the release train engineer. And yeah, they suggest, in some documentation, it's between 15 and 30 minutes. In others, it's 30 to 60 minutes. But I think, you know, less than an hour is helpful for everyone. The attendees are usually Scrum Masters, team members when needed, i.e. if there's a problem somewhere or something needs an further explanation. Subject matter experts as well that are brought in. I was going to ask, you know, who else that you would bring in. Maybe you can include that on the chat if there's anybody else that you think should be in the Scrum of Scrums. I guess depending on how your organizer is laid out, sometimes it might be release managers if you've got a release coming, or project managers if you've got, if you've got a specific release coming for a different program or whatever it may be. And the discussion points that they suggest in SAFE are, what did your teams accomplish since the last meeting? Are there any blocking issues? This is a big one, isn't it? When you've got everybody, all the Scrum Masters together, talking about any issues that are blocking them, impeding them. And also, lastly, what they'll accomplish between now and the next meeting. So what are they actually going to be working on a high level? So we have built something that will help you out in Kendis. Hopefully you can all see the fact that I've moved across here. This is our demo account. So I will show you where it's located. If you go into your board, my computer has been slow. You'll see that we've got the Scrum of Scrums icon here. It's here because it's in tracking mode. If you've got it still in draft or planning mode, it will be under more. So these icons do change as your board state changes. So if I go into this, what I'll do is I'll start off back to front. I'm going to explain and show you kind of, you know, how the Scrum of Scrum looks, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up. So we'll work that way around. I'm getting a pop-up from this. I hope you can all hear me okay. Can you hear me, Ona?
Yes, we're good.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Scrum of Scrums feature then. First of all, it's in an active sprint. So you have to have it by the dates when you're setting this up. I'll show you all of that in a little while. And when you go into it, you'll notice that we've got kind of like the shaded areas with some percentages as well. These are sort of the progress bars that you want to set for each team. So typically what we have are the teams underneath. So these are the teams that I have on the program board, and then the program level entry. And of course you can click on any of those and it will open them up. So what happens is that you can set it that the Scrum Masters or product owners will get email reminders before the start of the Scrum of Scrum meeting. And they'll get email reminders to fill out the impediments or kind of action points, or just things of note, as also any sort of blocked items that they're facing. So they'll be prompted by email to actually come to this area beforehand. And then on the call itself, there'll be a join meeting button here. I think it's up here actually. Just when you're setting it up, these things tend to disappear depending on the dates that I've set for these. But there'll be a join meeting button. So you hit the join meeting, and then of course, this will take you to your Zoom link or Microsoft Teams link or whatever you're using. Then you've got 4 areas here. So you've got highlights and impediments. So these are things that you actually input yourself. Progress updates, these come automatically from Kendis. And action points as well. These obviously you're putting yourself as well. This here, the blocked items, is only available for Jira users at the moment. I'm very sorry to those of you on Azure DevOps, but Azure DevOps, they use a status for blocked, whereas Jira has a flag. So these items relate to a particular flag in Jira. So I'm just going to open this up now for any questions just on this. I am going to go in further into like highlights, impediments, and setting all of these up. But I just want to make sure, just see if there's any questions from now. So please do that hand raising thing that I know mentioned at the start if you do have questions.
Yeah, we got one from Jonathan. I'm gonna unmute you.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello?
Loud and clear. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Justin. How you been?
Yeah, not bad at all. Good to hear you.
All right, so I got kind of a question about the action points, about the reminders. Do those get sent out every time you add an action point? So if I add one now, the reminder gets sent out. If I add an action point 2 hours from now, then 2 hours they get sent out then? Or is it like a bulk process where before the meeting happens, Kendis runs and sends any reminders out for what's out there? I'm trying to understand the reminders get sent.
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So this reminder is just for the start of the Scrum of Scrums. So it's kind of like if the Scrum Masters haven't done it, then the reminders will be sent to them to do it. If a Scrum Master has completed the action points, for example, already, then they will not be sent out the reminder. Or if you've selected all 3 of these, they'll be sent a reminder to do it if they have, for highlights and impediments, but not the action points. So it's just a reminder to, prior to the meeting. That's all it is.
So if they have like, say 10 action points assigned to them, will they get 1 reminder or a reminder for each action point?
I see. So that's a different one. So so the reminder is just for the attendance and prior to the Scrum of Scrums. But what you're saying is if they've got action points on their names, is that right, Jonathan?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So then they'll get 1 email with a list of the action points, because we didn't want to bombard people with every time we do something, then they get that email.
Okay, and that's sent out prior to the meeting, not when you enter the action point.
This is whenever the action points are put in.
Okay.
Prior to the meeting, that's only the reminder.
Gotcha. Understood. Okay. So
okay.
Okay. I think I got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
No worries at all. Any other questions at all?
I don't see any.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, thank you. So then if I go into bit by bit, so if the part here, the highlights, we say highlights and impediments. This, of course, is for announcements. So you edit it with just here. You can write whatever you would like on here and even put links in here. This is just like quick announcements for the program on this level. And on the team level, it will be the same. So if I go on a team level here and I have quick announcements for this team, then it will stay here. Because the idea of all of this, I should have mentioned as well, that all of these Scrum of Scrums, you can start on whatever date. So if you have once a week, for example, and you always have it on Tuesday, once it's finished, you can mark it as complete, like it's prompting me to do it here. And once it's been completed, I can always refer back, because what we do is we freeze all of the data on your previous Scrum of Scrums. So any announcements that you've made, the list of action points that were made in April or whenever last we had our Scrum of Scrums, that will still remain. So the highlights you can put in here. The impediments is a little bit of a different beast, because impediments, what you'll see is you can add an impediment. You can say whatever you'd like here. And you can actually say that you'd like to have more fields. So if you want to put a description, you can, but what you'll notice is it's still, and some of you may not have seen this, it still does not have all of that information. So if I've just put this in now, I would need to open it up and click into it. This is the one I've just created. If I click into it, you'll see there's lots more information here. So it's after, let me go through that again. So it's after you've created an impediment, if you go back into it, more information will pop up. And with this, you can write a title, a description, as you see. You can have a responsible person for these impediments. You can actually add it to other release trains as well, because it might be an impediment on other release trains. So if you want it to be on other release trains, you can select that. And what will happen is once you create it here, it will also pop up in that other release train, in their list of Scrum of Scrums list for the impediments. You can also have it that it's, when you add it here, which teams are impacted, and this will appear in the team's swim lane as well. So in that part there, their Scrum of Scrums. If I say it's relevant for all of these teams, it will appear as well in their part. If there's any linked items, any linked features to these impediments, you can link them here. You can have conversations, you can add watchers, etc., etc. Okay. Is there any? Impediments is quite an awkward one. Is there any questions about impediments at all? No, maybe it's not as awkward as I thought. That's good. Can't see any questions. I know. Is there anything?
Nope, I don't see any.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. So that's the impediments. These blocked items here, these are on feature level blocked items. And what that means to you Jira users is that there is a flag pretty much on, yeah, of course I go to the one without flag. There's a flag on a feature. So when there's a flag on a feature, it will appear in the blocked items here. What we also do is because the teams work on team level stories, like this one here, Team Venus, they've got a blocked item here on feature Ven 8. If they mark that this is blocked, what will show is the corresponding feature on the program level. So the team has said Ven 8 has been blocked by, whatever, so that will have a flag. So therefore, we know that this story is linked with this epic here. So we will show this epic on the program level. So you have two types of blocking. You have the blocked where the feature is marked as blocked for whatever reason. And then you have the blocking where the user story or a user story is marked as blocked as well. If you hover over, as you'll see here, we do have that information for you, just on the hover. On most of this, you can hover over it and then we'll have the information for you as well. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, it's not in Azure DevOps at the moment. We are looking at ways to do that in Azure DevOps. It might be that it's a Kendis only item as opposed to something that we get from Azure DevOps, but we'll keep you posted on that because it's very useful, that functionality. So then we come on to the progress updates. This is automatically provided by Kendis, and you've probably seen it already. You can click on these items here, these numbers, and you'll get the information. So as before, you click on these and you get the information. We have, because it's sprint by sprint, remember these Scrum of Scrums, we have, okay, these are the open dependencies in the current and in the previous sprints. We've got any objectives as well. So custom objectives, as you know, objectives is flexible enough to be able to write whatever you would like. It may be that you have, it's just PI 4 objectives or 5 here. Let's use this one, PI 5 objectives. But it might be that you've also got other objectives which are tracking the release or some themes or clusters or whatever it may be. So we'll provide you with the update. You just need to go into there to have a look. We've got risks as well that are open this sprint or close this sprint. These are when you say, okay, this risk is affected by this sprint. This is when it comes up in here, in this area. We've got features that were not completed in the previous sprint. So this is usually when we think, okay, this team is going to complete this feature, but actually it wasn't completed. So you can click on there and you can get all of this information. I should add as well that you can click on there and you can go into your Jira. So you can click on the ID of these and go into your Jira. But when you start going into this area, that's something else. So just reminding myself to explain when I get into action points. Features that were planned for delivery in this current sprint. So of course, in the Scrum of Scrums, we can look at the features that we think are going to be delivered by the teams in this sprint. So we can have a look at them, and especially if there's anything blocking, any sort of anything impeding them, then at least we'll know in the Scrum of Scrums. You've got the progress bar that you see. You can change this progress bar by either stories or story points by estimate. That should change automatically. And that takes into account all of the board. So you've got that calculation of the entire board. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to talk about these action points here. These action points, we wanted to make it as simple as possible because you've all been in these meetings where you just need to write a quick action point out. You just add whatever you need to write out and then just save it. You can at somebody, and like I was mentioning to Jonathan there, when you at somebody, they will get email notifications about what their action point is. Okay. So with these as well, when you click on these, we've got feature 5 here. What you'll see is instead of going straight to your ALM, Jira or Microsoft Azure, we will give you the summary of what has happened with this feature. So you'll be prompted to go to this tab here and click along. Okay, how many stories for this feature? You'll see all of the information in this new view. I think a lot of people wouldn't have experienced that or seen that. But yeah, this is a new view that's been provided. If you do want to go, I just want to go to my feature in Jira. There's a little, I don't even know how to describe it, an arrow coming out of a square. You click onto that and it will take you to your Jira or ALM to have a look further at the feature. So it's just there on the left-hand side. But the first thing that we show you when you click on that are the information relating to that feature, because it may be something that is in Kendis. So we want to provide you with that information straight away, and then you can go to your Jira to find that. Also, when you start a new Scrum of Scrums, you put the impediments, that's fine. When the impediments are done, you will select done here. They'll still show, but they'll be crossed out. Now, when you create a new Scrum of Scrums for the next iteration, the impending impediments and the action points that are still open will actually all be there in your new Scrum of Scrums. So you can't get rid of them at all. The only way you can get rid of them is by closing them. And you can, when you click into this, you can see all of the ones that have been closed previously. You can have a list view as well of all of the action points for all of the teams. If you've got lots of teams, then you might just want to see a handful, one at a time, whatever you'd like to do, you can do that here. Say, for example, there's a particular product or something that you'd like to see all of the action points for, then you can search for whatever keyword that, that will bring them all to the fore, and then you'll find them here and deal with the action points as required. And you can, of course, filter on the open ones and the current ones, the ones that were closed before, etc., etc. Are there any questions at all about this view here? I know.
I don't see
Anything?
any. Nothing.
Okay. Okay, and before I go into setting it up, how we set these all up, I will just show you that there is a difference between the team level progress updates and the program level. So that was the program level one. These are the team level ones. We have for the team level ones, what dependencies that they're working on, objectives for this team, everything that you would expect on the team level. Rather than providing with all of the information, we just wanted to sort of scale down to the important information that we think that you need on a team level, and also a snapshot of the things that you need on the program level. Of course, there'll be different views needed for different people, different personnel. But yeah, this is at the moment, this is what we've got here. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so when you are setting up a new Scrum of Scrums, this is what I meant, that it goes, because I'm in draft, is at the bottom here. And you'll be prompted to set up this new Scrum of Scrums. This is a completely brand new board. I haven't even got stories on the board, but what I do have are dates, because I need dates for the Scrum of Scrums. So I've got the dates on the board. I will say that we are doing the Scrum of Scrums on such and such a date. Automatically, the date will give me the last date that I have on the board. So the last day of your PI will be displayed here. We have good people who have Scrum of Scrums once a week, so we'll just select once a week, but you can obviously change that if you need to. You can select what day works for you. Of course, nobody likes to have Scrum of Scrums on a Monday, any meeting, in fact, on a Monday. And then you choose the start date for each one. So let's make it 10 o'clock and 10:30, I think that was, people normally have it. Location, Helsinki. And then here you can put the virtual room link. So if you have, let's say, Zoom link. Okay, save that in here. You can show all of the list of the sessions here. And we've done that so that you can change anything that you need to. It may be one, for example, you know, over that Christmas period where you've got Thanksgiving and various different holidays. It may be that you cancel one of these. You can just, of course, cross that out, cancel it accordingly. It may be that you've got to change the room link for another because, yeah, Scrum Masters or RTEs are where you want to change the room link for whatever reason. You can do that here as well. And if you click next, you just move on to the next tab. You can, this is where you select your participating teams. Of course, you probably select all of the teams that you have there in the hope that they all turn up. The reminders before, this is what I was talking about with Jonathan here. These are the reminders if there are no updates. So if everybody has updated their Scrum of Scrums before the meeting, then they will not get reminders. And you can set it half an hour, from half an hour to 2 hours before the session. Label to display all of the teams. So this is that on that program level, what label do you want to call it? Some people, of course, that will call it program. Some people will call it project. Some people will call it, I don't know, tribe level discussions. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, that's what this means. It's a label to have it at the top. Yep. Spell it properly. And these automatically come in actually from your, you know, that program roles view where you have set up your Scrum Masters and your product owners. So these will come in, the information here will come in automatically. So you can set up your Scrum Masters and your POs as well. These are people who are going to be receiving the reminders. So, you know, if you don't want the product owners to be bombarded, then yeah, leave them out and just put the Scrum Masters, or if there's somebody else on the teams, of course, then just put their details in here. Now, the impediment workflow is actually in the settings of Kendis. Let me go over that and I'll show you. Let me duplicate board. Really mess up my setup. Here we go. So in the settings here, we've got the workflow. In the workflow, you can change the impediment workflow. So let me move this, go to meeting. Workflow here, edit, there. And you've got a lot of workflow things that you can change here. So please do have a look at this area. It's very useful. But yeah, so you can change the workflow for the impediments and select progress by type. So this is, remember that shaded bar that we see? This is setting that up. So this bar here where it says 81%, 44% for this team. It's quite helpful when you've got lots of teams here. You can just see a snapshot how we're all doing in the current iteration, so whether it's on a program level or team level. So that's what we're doing here. So you can set that up here. You can even hide it if you don't want to show any progress bar. You can hide it. I guess those the really bad weeks, you can hide them, huh? It didn't happen. And then yes, we've got automatically close the Scrum sessions. I would leave that blank. I don't like that one, but you can automatically close them, bearing in mind the dates and everything else and the times. But yes, and then you save them, and then you can get all of the information when the sprint is open. So that's how you set it up. On the, I should add, because I was prompted but I ignored it. Here on these impediments, you can go into them and you can either display, you can display, I don't know, the top 3 or the top 7, however you want to display it. That's all done in the configuration part of it in here. So that's what this means here, top impediment count. It may be that you want to show 7 rather than 3. I'm only showing 3 because, then otherwise we get a really long board, but you can show, up to 7. And what you need to do, because of course, as it goes on, you're going to have, unfortunately, I hope you don't, but it happens, a list of impediments there. So you can select which ones that you would like to be in that top 3 by starring. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Starring impediments. You have to unstar one first, and then star the ones that you'd like. Okay. Any questions at all in the setting up? I hope I've covered everything, but yeah, any questions at all?
I'm not seeing any raised hands, but our support team has been answering a lot of stuff.
Oh, cool.
So we're getting the questions answered. They're just not.
Jonathan's asking one, is he? Jonathan?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we'll do. Jonathan.
You're able to unmute him?
Unmute, yep.
Hey, Jonathan.
You tired of my voice yet?
Yeah, you're breaking me up a little bit there, Jonathan. I don't know if it's just my end.
No, I was just asking if you're getting tired of my voice yet.
Oh, no, not at all. Never. It's a welcome addition.
About auto closing a session. So we just ran into this past Monday. One of our Scrum Masters accidentally closed our session before we even finished it.
Ooh.
So therefore, all the Scrum Masters could click their checkboxes. And I talked to your support if there was a way to unclose it, and they said no, just because of the way that how action points kind of roll over. Is there any other way to do it so we don't get that predicament again? And I changed their setting, close it in the future, but still, it's didn't know if there was a way to go retroactive that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So that's frustrating, isn't it? Did you, by the way, Jonathan, just so I know, so could you create another one, and then could you have created another one, and then there would have been no issues because everything would be still within that Scrum of Scrums?
I thought about doing that, but the way I have it set up, it's like a schedule, like every Monday, instead of a single one. So I kind of stopped going down that path.
That's frustrating. Yeah, sorry about that. So we have got, bear with me because I haven't used this area too much, but I know that we have got permissions.
Yeah, I did that. Thanks to your support team, instructed me to do that. So I changed all the Scrum Master's permissions so they can't close it, but I was hoping that.
Yeah, okay. And then, but I also see, so let's do it together while I'm on the call. Doesn't matter if I embarrass myself in front of hundreds of people. Let us, because I have also seen unlock. It's, what does this mean? Oh. Okay, so I have locked and unlocked, but I don't know if that is available to everyone. I would love someone from support to be able to answer the question.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that when the session's closed.
Ah, okay. I'm sorry about that. We'll look into that, Jonathan, and we'll let you know. Email, so I'll email you accordingly.
No, I mean, we did the permissions thing, so we're fine moving forward, but there was a, like, oh, great moment when we were going through this.
Yeah.
Okay. So we learned. I do have another question if you don't mind.
Of course. Yeah, we'll talk afterwards, Jonathan, and I'll see if we can make that improve on that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I know. Is there any more?
Nope.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, we got one. Melissa. Can you hear me, Justin?
Okay. If there's no more questions, I think.
No, there's one more.
I think my Wi-Fi is struggling. So if you can hear me, there's one more. Okay, please.
Hi, this is Melissa.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, Melissa.
Okay, great.
I
Hi,
can.
how are you? Okay, so my question is in regards to the program level. If I don't see any dependencies at my program level, but I see them on my teams, I'm trying to understand the open dependencies at the program level versus the team level. Because I see them at the team level, but I don't see them at the program level.
Okay. So yeah, you should be able to see them on if they are this keeps in sprint. Please bear with me. Sprint and iterations for me are the same. So if they are on this particular or in this particular iteration, then you should be able to see them on that program level. That's the only thing that they're filtered by. On a team level, it's the same. So obviously iterations that they're working on in yeah. So I don't know why it wouldn't show on your board, Melissa. Have you spoken to support, Melissa?
Pardon me?
Have you spoken to support?
I have not. I'm just looking at it right now. So I was just curious, as I thought it would roll up, but okay, I can raise that question.
Please. This is Melissa Stickney. Yeah, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, brilliant. So I've got your email address. So I will make sure I'll follow that up with support or to chase you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no worries at all. Okay, any other questions?
No, I don't believe so.
No. Or I don't know if you can all hear me, but I can't see any questions for now. So that being said, I would just like to redirect you to the fact that we're doing this timeline view for the next clinic. We say, as I know pointed out, we don't call it roadmap, although most of you would know it as a roadmap, just because it's got, for some reason, it's got negative connotations. So we call it the timeline view. And we wanted to do it before August, before everybody's away in Europe for their vacation. So we're doing it on July the 27th. And it's actually has been delivered on the cloud as we speak, but for self-hosted, I believe there's a couple of weeks left until it's going to be for the self-hosted and the private cloud as well. But yes, hopefully by the 27th, everybody will have it, and then of course we can let you know what the feature does and the strengths of the feature. Okay, on that note, I'd like to thank you all. I know, have I left?
I don't think so. We do have a hand up from Jonathan if you want to take that question, or I don't know if you want to.
Please shout at me if I have.
All right, last question, I promise.
I can't hear anything from my note, so I'll just. Okay, guys. Oh, you have a question. Oh, sorry, you do have a question. Sorry.
Yeah,
Please go ahead.
last one for today, I promise. Is there any plans to introduce more metrics inside the I guess the team views for the Scrum of Scrums? Because right now it's a bar, but is there going to be like where you can see the different statuses of the tickets in the sprint, or a burn down chart, or anything like that?
Yeah, so that's mainly on the reporting side of things, that is going to come in. We didn't want to cram it too much because we wanted to make it very light and easy to use for the Scrum of Scrums. But certainly on the reporting side of things, okay, every sprint, this is what's happening. You know, burn downs by team, the chance to sort of showcase what you've demoed, all of those things. That's what we're looking at next, rather than adding it to the Scrum of Scrums. I think that's also what you're looking for, is it, Jonathan?
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult. We'll see like a percentage, which says how close we're, like the points or the stories are being done, but we don't really see the full picture, like how close are they in the workflow, which doesn't give us that picture. We have to dive into the actual sprint to see that kind of stuff in Jira. But it's not.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, no, it's I think it's something that everybody is wanting to see. Just what happened at the end of the sprint, and you know, where are we? And that's where we're not going to include it in the Scrum of Scrums. Scrum of Scrums was great for the progress updates and a snapshot of information, and we'd like to keep it that way without bombarding it with all of the other analytics. But we'll improve the analytics to show a snapshot of actually what's happened within iterations.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you. Any other things, I know? Or anybody?
No, I think we're good now.
No. Okay. All right. And good to speak to you guys as well, Melissa and Jonathan. Guys, thank you very much for everything, and hopefully speak to you on your next clinic. Take care, and give our support team a shout if you need any help from them, please. Take care, guys. Look after yourselves.